All right, so today we're diving into something pretty wild. A story where a former president and now president-elect again just got sentenced in a criminal trial.
Wow.
You heard that right?
Yeah.
Donald Trump. And this Fox News article we're looking at from January 10th, 2025 is calling it a political witch hunt.
It's definitely something we need to look at for sure.
Yeah.
This is not just any news about Trump. This is a former president facing legal consequences while also being elected back into office.
Exactly. And the article is all about this virtual sentencing hearing where Trump, well, let's just say he didn't hold back.
He was definitely frustrated, called the trial a terrible experience, and said it was all political just to hurt his image and mess with the election. But as we know, that didn't quite work out that way.
He actually said, and I quote, "And the people of our country got to see this firsthand, and they voted, and I won."
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine being there?
It's crazy, right? But
Yeah.
here's the thing. The article doesn't actually tell us what he was found guilty of.
Oh.
It jumps right into the sentencing and reaction. So we're left wondering, what did he actually do?
It's like they think we already know the whole backstory.
Right.
Okay, so the big question, what was the sentence?
So Trump got what's called an unconditional discharge. Now, for those who aren't familiar with legal terms, that basically means no jail time, no fines, no probation.
Okay.
But he's still a convicted felon.
So a convicted felon is about to be back in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
That brings up a lot of questions.
For sure.
Could this affect how he governs?
Yeah.
Will other countries even take him seriously on the world stage?
Exactly. The kinds of things we're here to explore.
Yeah.
And the article gives us even more to think about.
Yeah.
It highlights the Assistant District Attorney Josh Steinglass, who totally disagrees with Trump's claims, saying there was overwhelming evidence to back up the jury's decision.
He even went as far as to say that Trump's accusations were putting court officers at risk by making people not trust the justice system.
Right.
Yeah.
Steinglass's statements really add another layer to all of this. On one side, you have Trump claiming a political witch hunt. On the other, you have the prosecution firmly standing by the jury's verdict. It's like this legal battle playing out in the public eye.
And right in the middle of it all, you have Judge Merchan trying to handle this crazy situation.
Absolutely. He knows it's a unique case, all the media attention, the extra security, but he insists that behind closed doors, the trial was fair. And then he drops this line. He tells Trump, one power they do not provide is the power to erase a jury verdict.
Wow. So he upheld the decision, but then he ends the sentencing by wishing Trump Godspeed as he starts his second term. What do you think about that?
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like he's acknowledging this strange situation, a convicted man becoming president. It's almost like you can hear the unspoken questions. How will this affect his ability to govern? What does it say about our democracy?
That's like he's passing the problem on to us, the public, to figure out.
Yeah.
But before we go too far down that road, let's see what Trump's attorney had to say about all this.
Yes, Todd Blanche. He comes out strong, saying he very, very much disagrees with how the prosecution sees the case and Trump's actions. And this is where things get really interesting. It's not just about guilt or innocence anymore. It's about different interpretations of the law of justice, of the very foundation of our political system.
It seems like everyone involved have their own take on what it all means.
Yeah.
But what does it mean for you listening?
Yeah.
That's what we're here to figure out.
Right.
And trust me, there's a lot more to uncover.
This deep dive is just getting started. We've introduced the key players and their positions, but now we need to break down the potential consequences.
Okay.
We'll be looking at what this means for the presidency, the legal system, and of course, for you as citizens living in this new reality. It really makes you think, what does unconditional discharge actually mean for Trump going forward?
Yeah.
Legally, he doesn't have the usual things like jail time or probation.
Right.
But the fact is, he's still a convicted felon. It's like this shadow hanging over him that could pop up in unexpected ways.
Makes you wonder, what if something else legal comes up while he's president? Could this conviction be used against him somehow?
Oh, absolutely. It opens up a whole new set of legal questions.
Yeah.
Imagine he needs to testify or make big decisions, and people challenge him based on this conviction.
Right.
It really throws a wrench into how we usually think about presidential immunity and being held accountable.
And we can't forget about the political side of things.
Yeah.
His opponent's going to jump all over this, aren't they?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Every single thing he does, every policy he tries to push through will be looked at through the lens of this conviction. Can he really negotiate on the world stage with this hanging over him? Can he keep the public's trust? even among his own supporters.
Yeah.
These are the questions that will probably define his second term.
We're talking about a level of political instability and uncertainty that we've never really seen before.
It's true.
It's like the American political system is being put to the test in real time.
That's a fascinating observation, although a bit unsettling. And what's really interesting is that this case could actually change what it means to be president. What does it mean for the highest office in the country to be held by someone with a criminal conviction? Does it damage the moral authority of the office? Does it set a dangerous example for future presidents?
It's almost like we're all holding our breath, waiting to see what happens.
Right.
And remember, the article mentioned that Trump's team is planning to appeal the conviction.
Oh, yeah. And that adds another layer of complexity.
Why?
The appeals process could go on for years, maybe even end up in the Supreme Court.
Wow.
Just imagine the media frenzy, the legal battles, the constant debates and analysis.
It's going to be crazy.
It's hard to overstate how much this case could dominate the conversation for years to come.
And how it could affect people's trust in the legal system itself.
Yeah.
If people start to think the courts are being used for political reasons, that's a dangerous path for any democracy.
You're absolutely right. This case isn't just about Donald Trump. It's about the very foundations of our legal and political systems. It forces us to confront tough questions about accountability, justice, and the balance of power in a democracy.
For those of you listening, this is a reminder that we're all part of this.
Yeah.
We can't just sit back and watch.
Yeah.
We need to have thoughtful conversations, challenge our own assumptions, and demand transparency and accountability from our leaders.
Exactly. This is a turning point in American history. And the choices we make now will have lasting effects. We need to think critically about what this case means, not just for Trump's presidency, but for the future of our democracy itself.
We've covered a lot here looking at the legal and political fallout from this unprecedented situation. But there's one more crucial thing we need to explore, the potential psychological impact of this case on the American public. How will this experience shape how we see justice leadership and the very idea of truth?
That's a good question.
We'll explore that and more in the final part of this deep dive. We're back, and we're still unpacking all the fallout from this Donald Trump situation.
Yeah.
His conviction and then unconditional discharge.
Right.
We've talked about the legal side of things, the political side of things.
Yeah.
But there's another piece to consider, the psychology of it all, how this is hitting the American public.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Think about it. We're already living in this time where the very idea of truth is always up for debate. This case, with everyone saying different things and giving it different meanings, just adds fuel to that fire.
It's like we're all choosing our own realities.
Exactly.
And it's getting harder to find any common ground.
Right. And this case, being so public with the media all over it, could make that divide even worse.
Yeah.
Some people will see Trump as a victim of a political attack,
Right.
and that'll just make them distrust the legal system and the establishment even more.
And then others will see the conviction, no matter the discharge, as proof that even powerful people can be held accountable.
Yeah.
But how does this affect our overall faith in the justice system, in the presidency itself?
Those are big questions.
Yeah.
If we can't even agree on basic facts, if we can't trust the institutions that are meant to uphold justice and fairness, then what does that say about the future of our democracy?
It's almost like this case is forcing us to face this uncomfortable truth. Our systems aren't perfect,
Right.
and the people in charge don't always act in our best interest.
That's true. And it makes you wonder, what impact will this have on future generations? How will this shape how they understand leadership accountability, the rule of law? Will they just become even more cynical about politics?
It's a scary thought
It is.
that this one case could have such a big impact, not just now, but on the future of our country.
It is, but it's also a chance to look at things differently and hopefully make things better.
Yeah.
This case has shown us where our systems are weak, but it's also shown how important it is to be involved and to think critically.
You're right. It's like a wake-up call. We
Yeah.
can't just sit back and watch. We need to stay informed, be active, and hold our leaders accountable no matter what party they belong to.
Absolutely. And we need to be open to tough conversations, to hearing viewpoints that challenge our own, and really try to understand each other when it comes to truth and justice.
Because that's what this is all about. It's about protecting our democracy and making sure it works for everyone.
Exactly. And remembering that it's up to each of us to protect it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this. What will you do now that you know all of this? Will you let this case make you cynical and divided, or will you use it to push for positive change?
The choice is yours.
It really is.
The future of our democracy depends on it.
That's it for this deep dive into this truly unprecedented situation. A former and now future president convicted in a criminal trial and then given an unconditional discharge. Thanks for joining us as we explored all the angles, the legal, the political, and the psychological.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
And as always, we encourage you to keep thinking critically, stay engaged, and be part of the conversation.